My friends, it just keeps happening. 1 flat 26. That is nuts. That really is nuts, right? My time, when I guess, like, half retired, I mean, I would call it, like, full-on retirement, probably, like, at the time. 1 flat 49, that was the best run I had ever done. It was amazing, and it stood the test of time for a while, right? It was so good. I was going for a 101 OX, and I got a 1 flat 49. I didn't even know I was capable of 4x. It really completely shattered expectations. And 2 years and a couple months later, I've shattered, not in the exact same way, but I've shattered expectations again, and got a 1 flat 26. I did get 1 flat 46 recently. It was last week. But, like, that run, like, yeah, it only PB'd because of the new time saves is the thing, and, like, it felt slightly overdue. But in total, I've improved my time by 23 seconds in the span of 9 streams. So this didn't shatter expectations in the same way because I knew I was capable of 2x. I even said, if the run is, like, basically 10 out of 10, it can be a 1x, and I still stand by that. If it's, like, pretty much, like, obviously 10 doesn't mean perfect, right? Like, if you rate, like, a show or a game 10, like, nothing is perfect, so automatically, like, it doesn't literally mean perfect, so, but yeah, a 10 out of 10 run for me would be, like, 1 flat 19, 1 flat 18, something like that. Which, obviously, like, I would like to get out of that eventually, but yeah, the point being that, even though I knew I was capable of a 2x, this run, I would still call it better than my 1 flat 49. Its biggest mistake in the run is bigger, and I did drop, like, 3 strats, to, improve consistency, which did reduce difficulty. However, I've also added a number of time saves that individually could kill the run. Any of them, like, well, they all, like, at least slightly increase the chances of the run dying in their own way. So there's more consistent difficulty in the run. And there's, like, roughly 20 seconds of time save, and I've abandoned about 3 to 4 seconds of it. And I PB by 23. So, from that, you can gather that this run is better than that one, but then you could argue, oh, well, it's only, like, equivalent of a few seconds faster in the span of, like, 2 years. Which, like, yeah, but that run was so unbelievably good at the time. Like, you gotta understand, right? Like, that run truly was special, and even though this one is technically not as special, it also just didn't, unfortunately, feel, like, it felt really good together. It didn't feel, like, as good because it didn't feel like I earned it as much, because even though that run came out of nowhere, like, this one really came out of nowhere. 59:48 best possible time going into here, monster. Like, I can see how it would be really hard, but I could see myself being able to get, like, a 59 best possible time going into, like, Dennis 2, potentially even Guess 2. Potentially, like, theoretically. This run, I think it would have lost 59 best possible time regardless by the time it entered, like, Sunday, but yeah, like, still, like, this run was even after the mistake, which we'll get into in a bit, like, it was still just so good. So what we're looking for is to analyze the run, identify time saves, predict, what's gonna happen next and everything. And, yeah. So I guess we can basically just get right into it. Yeah, let's go. Let's, go. So, as you can imagine, a lot of the run is gonna be, like, 2 times speed. It is also hard to say, like, oh, well, shouldn't you implement this, shouldn't you, because I dropped truck skip and, but the amount of resets that they were causing relative to the time save, especially when you do need to keep count of your loads now because of Mindy skip, like, it didn't feel worth it, especially for only streaming weekly. For only streaming weekly, those strats are not worth it at all. So it depends on what, you know, what you call realistic time save. My objective as well was to get as many runs into 3K as possible. Like, obviously without the runs, like, straight up sucking. So yeah, I'm already, like, a little under a second down the drain, but obviously nothing about the run itself is, like, off other than that. But yeah, like, a very standard no cheese, as you would expect, I suppose. I do get the occasional 108 no cheese, but it seems to always happen, like... Sometimes, like, the jellyfish cutscene just loads really goddamn slow. Like, that was a good no cheese, though. That was a lot of, adjustments just then. Yeah, I literally did, like, 4 or 5. That's kind of funny. But they were, like, very minor, so I probably only lost, like, a frame or two compared to perfect movement there. But yeah, again, like, you're just gonna see, like, pretty damn standard, just making sure the thing was muted. So that loses just under, well, it's like just under a second, if not a second. That is obviously like a second of time loss like this early in might sound like hard to justify, but let me put it like this, right? Like I don't even think anyone else in the community has a 209 depression. I don't think so. Even then, like, for like, you know, like, intermediate level players, like, on the higher end of intermediate, and, like, on the lower end, the high level players, they still get, like, 213, 214 depressions a lot of the time. Like, I can afford a second, right? I feel like it's pretty safe to say I can afford a second. And, I used to kill these foggers, but I don't do it anymore. I kinda, even in this category, the manlies are becoming more and more of an issue. I still, even then, I don't think it's worth killing these foggers more often than not, because, like, I would, like, walk to the right, but, like, these guys, like, they would just never cooperate the same way every single time. There was always, like, some luck to it, but also, like, sometimes I get hit by them, they would, like, block the way, I would, like, attempt to spin, but I wouldn't kill any of them, or I'd only kill one of them, and, like, that, I am losing frames from just even attempting that. So for consistency's sake, I just do this. I'm just panning the camera down for funsies. It's just a habit of mine. There's only like 2 or 3 places in the run where it actually saves time. But so far, like, the run is very, like, standard. Like, nothing wrong with it at all. Just, yeah, just a good run. So far, like, 317. And, yeah, just sandwich my Ds. I know I got a below average sandwich driving here, but I can't remember why, so we need to look into that. So that's why I'm watching, like, the whole last thing. When we get to, time, we don't need to do that, because I know how good it was. And that's the other thing as well, like, I've talked about it in a few other videos, but you do need to factor as well, like, what is, like, realistic time save. Because something may be realistic in itself, but then you just play perfectly for the next, like, 10 splits in a row, and then all of a sudden it's like, well, you know... Oh, that was kind of shitty, so... Initially, it was fine, I think. Yeah, like, I could have started nitroing a little bit sooner, but that was still, like, fine. Yeah, that was fine. But, what happened is that I slightly touched an invisible wall, like, by here, so it fucked my angle, and I had to hold, like, a really hard left, and I almost got pushed back in bounds. I was a little surprised that worked, I remember now. And I also am not on a cycle to get... It's really fucky, because, like, you can get a good sandwich out of bounds, but it's, like, not so good. Like, you can get a really good one, but then you still don't get right side. But if you get, like, a really good one, you can get right side. But I happened to get a slow one, which then put me on a right side cycle, so I had to go left. Or I guess it put me on a left side cycle, but yeah. So, what I normally expect out of sandwich driving is about, like, a 559 or a 6 flat, but 559 is ideal. I got a 6, probably like a low 601 if I had to guess. Let's find out. It was like approaching mid. Well, I also know I started my run early, like I started at 0.1 early, so... Okay, I guess I'll call it a low 601, but yeah, so this run is below average so far. And these foggers, like, their placement is RNG and stuff, so I did lose frames by, you know, pushing into them a bit, but I couldn't really do too much about that. Those foggers are actually worth killing. Not if, like, one of them is really out of the way or whatever, but, like, if you can, you should try and kill them. And we are approaching our first time save since 2023, when I got the 1.549. Pretty cool time save, I do like it. Well, I hate it, but you'll find out why in a second. So, if you remember, I used to not do Bungee Now. Well, I used to do Bungee Now, and then I moved it later in the run because of, like, 3k floating block stuff that I can get into later. Which did technically add the most minute amount of difficulty, because now, like, you had to get the 2-frame. The Bungee 2-frame, or else you lose additional time. Like, moving it later in itself doesn't save anything, but because of floating block, it saves half a second. But then if you miss the 2-frame, it just would have been better to do it earlier. Also, I mean, this token's literally like 20 seconds long, or 22 seconds or some shit, but getting in, like, at the time, like, getting into Rubber Dub for Rubber Dub skip, or even just, like, BBBH slide jumps, fast corkscrew, etc., getting to those, like, 20 seconds faster was kind of low-key nice when you were resetting to those a lot. But obviously, that's incredibly minor. So, again, you would just do it normally and then 2-frame the token. Now what you do is that you die on top of the token, but there is a bit... This is the easy version of it. There is quite a bit that goes into it, but you break this and get damaged at the same time. Then you wait a bit to slam into it. The hitbox for the steam is active before the steam is, like, fully visible. So, but I could have dived later. I didn't have to do that. And then my visual cue for this dive is that, like, when the steam is like 90-something% gone, I'm talking like 95+% gone, that's when you can, like, dive. And then, if you did it properly, it'll be like a deep dive. And then you kind of, like, hang on it for a very brief amount of time and then press B. I have lost runs to, like, pressing B too early. Like, ascending too early. But you are, like, you can delay it more. Like, if you want to be super fucking safe, you could do this, like, you can wait until the steam is literally 100. Oh, wait, I think I did wait until the steam... Yeah, you want to wait... Okay, I waited slightly after the steam was 100% gone. That's, like, incredibly safe. Doing it any faster is not really worth it. It's more of, like, you know... And then, well, actually, well, no, I mixed it up. For the second one, it doesn't really matter that much, but again, like, that would be a visual cue, I guess, but then you could wait slightly longer here, and then, like, but then you're losing, like, half a second to a second if you do it really slow, but then, obviously, you know, like, this is still, like, if you're willing to do it slow, it is basically free. There were 2 problems with this trick, but I'll only say the one for now. The one is that you can't really just do this, like, I mean, you can, but you shouldn't. You pretty much you should do the other one, because the only reason, well, not, okay, well, there's another one coming up. We die on top of another token, and because of that one, we do the Bungee one. And, like, that's the only reason the Bungee one got discovered, is because we were trying to make the steamed one, like, good. But as you can see, it steamed early, and I believe... Yeah, I spun there when I didn't need to, and I missed a jump there, so... that was unnecessary time loss. And I could have started jumping sooner, but that was still decent. So... what you're doing is that when you jump here... So, you're setting your position here. This is far away enough to where you'll receive a lot of knockback, but not so far away that the game, like, you know when the game instantly kills you because it doesn't even, like, try it doesn't even try to send you back because you're so far away from where you were standing that the game just thinks you're too far away to even bother knocking you back to safety, so it just kills you. However, here, it is a good enough distance to be able to jump into the cacti and bounce back onto the token, and then we collected it without having to sit through it. Because remember, we normally grab the token and then die in the cacti anyway, so we're saving a lot of time from this because, like, yeah, we jump to the cacti, but we walk to the cacti regardless, and we're skipping a lot of the token animation. So, basically, SpongeBob has 3 damage animations in this game that he cycles through consistently. From boot, it's consistent. And there is no reason why SpongeBob should die before this point, and we need to soft reset the game anyway from sandwich driving onwards for literally like 2+ reasons. I mean, throughout the entire run, there's like 5 reasons why you want to soft reset the game from sandwich driving onwards, but yeah, like even in sandwich driving onwards, there's two reasons why. But then this would be the 3rd reason, so SpongeBob's first damage animation is too short for the steamed token. It is so short that the token, because you don't pick up the token in the menu until like a couple seconds into collecting it, and SpongeBob would die like a little too early. So instead, we have him die on the 2nd death cycle, right? And it's only 0.6 seconds longer, but it's just long enough for it to give us the task. So we need to burn SpongeBob's first death. Well, where would that be? Bungee, because it saves time anyway. So to do steamed, you need to do bungee. There is a faster bungee one that you can do, but I guess I'll get to that later. So the actual issue with this, and a big reason why getting a run out of early game is a lot harder now. Yes, the bungee one is incredibly easy, even if in rare instances you can fuck it up. The steamed one isn't that bad, but it is still a bit fucky. Like, you will still... I get it like 85% of the time, you know, and like not great, but not like terrible, you know. It depends on the day. Sometimes it's more like 80, but yeah, probably like 80 to 90, depending on the day, consistency. The actual issue is RNG. Both deaths have RNG. So... basically, there is a 17.5% chance that when you die, instead of playing, like, one of the 3 main death animations, it just fucking makes SpongeBob explode into 1,000,000 pieces, and if he's exploding into 1,000,000 pieces, how can he be knocked back into the token? You get where I'm going with this? So yeah, it is RNG. It's just been proven to be RNG. And the odds of it happening once within the 2 deaths is about, like, 31.9%, I believe it was calculated to be, which is basically 32, which is basically 1 in 3. So, because keep in mind, right, like, if we're counting, like, truck skip and unbuffered creek token, like, 3K was, like the least reset heavy split until, like, well, now that I've changed my route, well, either BBBH or at the time Rub-a-Dub 2, but now it'd be like SD102. It was, well, actually no, I said it wrong. It's pretty, like, it's not very reset heavy because the most likely mistake you are to make at the top level is not two-framing the SpongeBob token, which only loses, like, 6, which isn't, like, is usually not enough on its own to reset if the run itself is, like, fine or good. Well, I would still sometimes reset. I think it depended on how I felt about, like, my PB at the time and what I needed to do to beat it and all that stuff, but... yeah, pretty rough that, like, automatically now, in the very long term, 3K's reset rate is going to be at bare minimum in the very long term 31.9%. You 31.9% of the time. And that's not factoring that you could fuck up Bungee, you could fuck up Steamed, you could fuck up the SpongeBob, you could fuck up a lot of things in 3K. So now, it is more reset heavy, than, like, well, easily than no cheese, like, post, like, not doing truck skip. Potentially even depression. Not, well, actually, yeah, even sandwich driving. I probably only reset to sandwich driving like 25, maybe 30% of the time. I'm resetting to 3K because of the RNG a bare minimum of 30% of the time, 31.9. So, yeah. It is now, like, quite a reset heavy, because when you factor the other stuff, now, especially now that my PB is good, and now I would actually reset if I missed the SpongeBob 2 frame, the reset rate here is probably going to hit like 50%, which sucks. But in total, these deaths, even with the easy bungee deaths, save just over 6. So, yeah, like, I don't recommend them to, like, anyone else, really. They're probably, like, a 101 strat or lower. Obviously, for world record, like, you gotta do them. And you should certainly do them for 1 flat, actually, but I'm not sure about, I mean, yeah, maybe 101, I don't know, bro. Because at that point, you just need to get more, like, better movement and consistency, so like, you don't need strats, but, you know, it would still help a lot, of course. As you would imagine, SpongeBob was a pretty average cycle. Yippee! Yippee! But yeah, like, again, so the rest of this 3K was completely fine. It was just, like, the steamed was a bit slow. So the run was slightly below average out of sandwich driving, and I got a slightly below average 3K. So this is already, you know, like a couple seconds off of what would be ideal. So it's like, oh, you got 2 seconds of time save. And, you know, yeah, you could see it like that, but, you know, let's continue. 2 seconds of time save going into BBBH 11 minutes into the run. Like, yeah. Let's see how these jumps are. Perfecto. Oh, here's another time save since my 1 flat 49. The way you do this fight is different. I honestly don't even know how much this saves. I'm gonna say anywhere between 0.5 to 1. It is a little harder. If you remember, we used to kill the fogger, and then we were still in midair, so then we jump and then kill the spinner over here, and then we just cartwheel, and then we kill the spinner over here. Like, we'd have to manually, like, you know. But instead, you kill this one in midair, and then you have him hit you just like before with the spinner over here. But then you literally just spend less time traveling, which is why and you can ledge grab here instead of down here. And if you're really, like, if the RNG is good and you react fast enough, or alternatively, if you get hit by the slammer and the RNG is bad, then you can ledge grab over here instead. So the only problem with this one, because I would call it better than the other one, but then the issue, it is possible for the spinner to keep attacking you after he's already hit you because he doesn't know he's hit you. That happens when you start attacking him too soon, which is why I did a slightly wide turn here. It is possible to kill him as well instantly, like you did with the other one, but it is so fucking bad and doesn't save like that much for like a second. So until proven to not be horrible, well, it's horrible, so yeah. And there's consequences for missing it, and you're more likely than not, very more likely than not gonna miss it, so yeah. But anyway, BBBH is very linear. It always has been, really. Oh yeah, I did a tiny optimization at the end of 3K. Not really worth getting into, but just a better line, saved like 6 frames. I've gotten better at this ledge grab skip. You get more height from buffers than if you just did like a normal 1-frame jump. The ledge grab skip is like not consistent with the one because it's so precise. So like low-key, more often than not, the buffer is actually saving you time if you get the ledge grab skip. And here's another optimization where you just cartwheel onto this. It saves like 10 frames, but it does make this a trick like a teeny bit more awkward. Like the line you get for it is like a tiny bit worse. And then we have Fast Corkscrew, which, like, none of it matters until we get to this point. And as you can tell, like, I didn't fuck anything up, so we're good. That's the thing with movie. See, I was gonna get into this later. I mean, I will go into more detail later, but, like, when you think about this, like, logically, right? Like, yeah, okay, since coming back, I have done so, like, I've golded Weenie by, like, 0.3 or 4. Even since, because, Hundo has the same exact Sunday 1 segment, like, even when I was playing that, Hundo, I golded Sunday by, like, over half a second. You know, like, there are, like, golds, there's always gonna be golds, if the split has a bunch of loads, you could just so happen to get, like, optimal loads every single time, like, you know, and you could, like, you're never gonna play as good as TAS, so there's always time to save. But, like, when it comes to something like Fast Corkscrew, where the literal only time save comes from this part onwards, it's like, did I do it literally as fast as I possibly could? I don't know, my turn there was, like, I could have been slightly more right. I don't know, maybe I lost, like, 2 fucking frames off of perfection here. Like, I would like to see a TAS BBBH Spongeball, but, like, I probably lost, like, at most, like, 5 frames from it, from, like, literally perfect movement, because I'm waiting for it. Well, like, you just catch the cycle. Like, I literally, you know. So, you know, and then even in other areas like Weenie and Sunday, it's like, there isn't even too much time you can save is the issue. But yeah, I used to do Rub-a-Dub after this, because Rub-a-Dub's skip is really bad. However, not anymore. So, we need the cartwheel buffer here, because it saves like half a second or something. We used to get it from Bungie, but because of the token deaths, like, you just can't do that anymore, like, you need to do it early. So instead, the only solution that we know of is to go from Spongeball to Floating Block, because Sandwich Driving 102 to Floating Block does not work, and Rub-a-Dub 2 to Floating Block does not work. Even though on a fucking save file it seems to work, in a run setting it would never ever work, and I was tired of losing half a second, so basically, I've delayed Rub-a-Dub skip and the 1 frame jumps, I've delayed them by 4 minutes because I wanted to save half a goddamn second. I hate myself, bro. To be fair, at least my route is literally, like, 100% optimal now. It can't be any more optimal. So, that's peak at least, but... yeah. And here's another time save, but I've been thinking of dropping it because it feels inconsistent. You can cartwheel, you do, like, a Y-turn-ish, and then you cartwheel, like, onto the block. I think if you go too fast, it doesn't work, because it was working, and then when I, you know, and then as you would imagine, I got more used to it, so my movement got more refined on it, and then all of a sudden I kept missing it. So, and this time when I did get it, it was kind of a wide turn. So I think you need to have, like, suboptimal movement to make it work, but I can't 100% prove that, but I'm still kind of thinking it. So, I want to drop it. I'm probably going to drop it, but I don't know. Like, for sure. Oh yeah, so, that BBBH was a fucking gold. It was a 338, I just split inaccurately, so, yeah. I mean, that 2 seconds, of time save is not looking too good anymore, is it, bro? Like, yes, I would actually expect myself on, like, a good run to be -2 going into, like, BBBH. And on a good run, I would expect to be, like, -0.5 or -1 still out of BBBH if the run is, like, pretty fucking solid. But, well, you'll see what happens in the next split. That was a bit unoptimal. Yeah, this cycle's slightly funky, so... let's say, like, maybe I could save, like, half a second here, so... but I'm gonna drop the fucking... I'm probably gonna drop the cartwheel thing. Like, if the amount of time save is, like, less than 0.5, it's probably not even worth, like, saying. Like, noting down, unless it's, like, a bunch in a row, or, like, no, doesn't have to be in a row, but, like, close to each other. Anyway, we don't really need to see this, other than, again, to put into perspective how good this run is, look at this. I literally got Ultimate. Ultimate is so bad that I never intentionally go for it. I only ever get it on accident, and even then, I see it once every, like, 15 or 20 sandwich drivings. It is very rare, and even then, you are pretty, like, you're probably, like, 2 in 3 chance that you miss it, even when, you know, because, like, so much has to go right. Like, you need a good height and angle, and then you bounce off this, and then, like, you're always in danger of the wheels getting, like, the wheels are nearly touching the wall. And if they're touching the wall, then the game thinks you're touching a wall. Like, your whole body, so it knocks you back, it pushes you back inbounds, and the run is dead. So, yeah, it's horrible, it is horrid. But if you accidentally get, and even then, it can be hard to react to, because, like, the angle and stuff you get when you land is a bit different, so, but I reacted very well. This is a very solid... the fastest time that you can get on NTS COG is 2:10, and I got, like, mid 2:10. So, you remember when I said I was, like, -2 and then out of BBB? I mean, even if we want to be generous with the 3K thing, like, okay, let's say minus, like, 1.5. Dude, realistically, like, very realistically, I'm either, like... Well, not even... No, like, even being slightly optimistic, I'm, like... At best, like, minus 0.5. But more realistically, I'm either, like... I'm probably, like, plus 0.5 or minus 0. Like... It's like, oh, but like, the 3K time shave, brev, and it's like, it's just all negated by a trick that I never get. I just don't get it. I just don't get Ultimate, like, hardly ever. I've almost never gotten it in PBs. Like... You know what I mean? And then... Yeah, just get some fucking Robodub 1 frames, why don't I, bro? So... I mean, like, that could have technically been, like, the tiniest bit more optimal. Because you don't need to jump to, like... I could have jumped to, like, here. But even then, I lost, like, so little from that. Probably, like, 0.3. Like, 29 Robodub is really fucking good. Can't really save time there. I kind of miss these one-frame jumps more. I've been getting them more often recently, but I feel like even then I still miss them more often than I get them. But it's hard to say for sure, to be fair. So now, I'm, like, almost always gonna be plus. Like, I need, like, quite the exceptional run to be, like, even right now. Because, like, again, I usually miss these one-frame jumps. I'm guaranteed to reset in 3K 1/3 of the time regardless. Like, I golded BBBH. There's literally no time to save in Sandwich Driving 102, which just negates the Sandwich Driving 101 thing. And then the 3K time save is basically negated by Robodub and fucking BBBH. So, yeah. 20 flat going into Weenie is, like, absurd. Like, I can get a 19, but it's just incredibly unrealistic. And then as for Weenie itself, there isn't much to say. There's, like, one optimization since I came back, but I don't even know how much it saves. I don't even know if it's... I technically don't know if it saves time. I'm just, like, 90% sure it does, so I do it. Although it's on lap 3, so this should be basically what you're used to. But now we come to the next time save of the run. This Conquer 2 key was kinda bad. Conquer 2 key is harder than it looks. Like, obviously, like, you just turn around, so, like, it's never gonna be like, oh my god, the run is dead because I missed the key. Like, no. But, like, this turn is harder than it looks to do optimally. You just don't know until, like, you can get weenies that feel, like, perfect, but you still lose, like, a second off the gold because the Conquer 2 key was not good. It is very common that you lose, like, a second or around there for, like, you know, for not having, like, the most optimal, like, Conquer 2 keys. Like, it is harder than it looks to do it, like, really well. But still, that is, like, some semi-realistic time saved, like, technically. Anyway, hold on. And then I'm nitring through this dirt pile now, which I'm, like, pretty positive saves time. Like a few frames, but... And then, as you can imagine, I upgraded, and, you know, we all lived happily ever after. So, yeah, that was, not great, but even then, like... I did, like, 0.5 seconds at most, I would say. Like, 0.5. And here's potentially another thing, but I don't know if it's actually true. Latte reckons that, the tongue always spawns, because it either spawns to the left and fucks you, or it spawns to the right. And there's two opportunities for it to, and I called it RNG. Latte reckons, it happens if you are standing too close here to the right side. But, like, I remember getting runs where I'm standing quite a bit further back and it spawns to the right. However, runners remember a lot of things that are wrong. Like, what's it called? I got distracted by something on my phone now. I can't really remember what I was talking about. Oh yeah. People, like, there have been some runners who are, like, absolutely insistent that, like, Mindy's stare is random, even though we proved, like, years ago what the cause is. And even with Ice Physics Glitch, there were runners that were like, nope, no, it can't be spit, because I've definitely been hit by spit before, and it's obviously just incorrect. So, like, while I do have memories of, like, standing all the way back here and having the tongue, like, spawn to the left still, I can't say without a shadow of a doubt that it is true, and since standing further... Well, this was still a little too far forward, but since standing further back, I haven't had issues. But I've only gotten a few runs here since Latte said that to me, so we need more data. We need more data, we need more runs, but... yeah. So, the point being that here, I was always ranging between 57 to 59 seconds here, but now I should basically always be getting 57s if what Latte said is true. So that's just more consistency, more, you know, realistic time save in the run. So there's no time save for Frogfish. I'm taking a better line here. I used to take a much wider line, because, again, I remembered the Hans triggers being quite bad here. Turns out they're actually fairly generous. So I'm saving like half a second by taking this better line. And this is long as fuck, so I'm just like fast forwarding. Let's see how this drop was. Like, yeah, you never want to be, like, it's hard to justify being ballsy with this drop because there is a fat Hans trigger. But, like, it probably is already gone by now, maybe a teeny bit later. Oh, well, I turned a teeny bit later. Yeah, the drop was not bad. It could have been better, but I feel like it's hard to justify going better than that. If anything, my drops are usually worse than that, so... For now, I'm just gonna say, like, no time save there. And then obviously you got the super jumps, aka the worst thing ever if you're not buffering, because, like, downward slope, dark level, round ass, like, fucking crown, or a shell, rather, or so it's, like, really hard to, like, gauge the frame. Sucks, dude, it fucking sucks. And, Manly's, you know, like I said, Manly's matter more now, but we need to, I've been skipping, these boxes recently. I don't know how much it saves to skip them, but I want to say probably, like, 5+ frames. Which, again, considering the Manlys do matter a bit more now, that's a little hard to justify, but, like, here's the thing, right? The Manly route is fine as long as you don't miss anything you normally get. And that's kind of the issue, is that, like, if you miss, like, anything, you could be in trouble. So that's kind of where we're at the world record level right now. But even other people have been beginning to have issues, like, I think Latte and Sam, and probably Chris as well. Oh yeah, no, definitely Chris. Chris has been having some Manly problems, but I gave him a little bit of advice on that. So anyway, 2744 Rock Slide exit. And again, we've established, like a maximum of, like, 3 seconds of not the most absurd time save imaginable. And it's just negated by, like, BBBH, SD102, Rubber 2. Like, where is the time save, like, actually? Again, like, even on, like, a really good run, I can't I wouldn't actually expect to be -3 here. I would expect to be, like, minus, like, 1. So, I would love to get a 19 BBBHXer, but, I don't know if this was actually on best pace by 5.5 because I changed my splits, it changed my best pace, so I just don't know. I mean, based off the best possible time being that low, like, it probably is my best pace, but, yeah. That line was a little bad, it was just kind of shaky, so I lost frames there. There is something you can do here to get an extra stack, and it only loses like 0.1, but it's a little finicky. I haven't really fucked with it, but I might consider fucking with it in no pole storage. Here's another change since 2023. I always kill this turret now because its shots are RNG. They are just always RNG. And obviously, well, killing it gives you manlies, which again, it is nice in a pinch, but more importantly, like, okay, so you lose, like, 0.9, I think, for killing him, which does suck, but, like, seriously now, right? The number of times he would shoot me here, and then all of a sudden I couldn't do spear boost, or he would shoot the box and kill me, and the run is, like, either terrible or dead. Like, you know what I mean? I might have been... If I... You remember when I said my movement was slightly shaky earlier? If I did that part perfectly, I might have been able to catch this cycle. It's hard to say, so there might be a second of time save. Alternatively, if I didn't kill the turret, but I might have been on a bad cycle anyway, I don't know. But again, you kind of want to kill the turret. Here's another change, and this is one of the, so Tunnel is a fair bit easier now, because it isn't just the turret, it's also, we do an easier version of Spear Boost. That's, like, way better, even though it still aids. And because of it, you can ball the stack, but it's kind of, like, not worth it anymore. First of all, we were usually not even reaping the full benefits of it anyway, because it was hard to, like, aim for it, but also, like, you don't really have time to do it anymore. Like, you want to ledge grab, like, ASAP. Like... Yeah, so originally there was no ledge grab, but the good thing is, this thing doesn't start shooting until not even after the ledge grab, but when you start moving after the ledge grab, which makes it way more consistent than just timing it when you jump off the fucking eel. You know what I mean? This is still horrible. It really is, like, horrible, and it saves quite a bit less time now. Probably, like, 4 instead of, like, 5.5 to 6. But, Speed Boost is still kind of worth it at my level, because it's consistent enough. When you miss it, you usually don't lose that much time. I've already been doing it in runs, so dropping it would just be, like, a bit much. I mean, if I didn't do it in this run, I think I would have had a 3x. Actually, yeah, no, I definitely would have had a 3x. So, you know. You don't have to kill this turret, but I think you should, because again, like, he can shoot you when you're, like, ledge grabbing here, and I just don't think it's worth risking that. And then, you can do your second ball here faster, but you want the Papa Manleys. Well, you know, unless you don't need them, but I kind of need them. So, this Tunnel Golded. I might be able to improve it by a second. Maybe, just maybe. It's all about if I can catch that faster cycle, which I don't know if I can, because I've only been... You know, I haven't been playing, like, that much, so I just don't know if it... I mean, it's probably, like, barely possible. Well, you know... I don't know. Because, like... Other than, like, the very slightly shaky movement in that one area, like, the rest of the segment was excellent, so I just... You can probably save a second there, but it's not realistic. Like, I cannot call that realistic. I'm surprised that Bash Gang worked, honestly. I thought it wasn't gonna work, like, at the time. I was surprised that it worked. I reacted to it, like, not perfectly. Okay, so... This was in the run, I just want to say, you can get a ledge grab skip here, but it's really, really bad. You need more speed, which means that you need to be even more aggressive with this. Like, this isn't the Chris skip that you were probably... You're just like, oh, well, this is basically Chris skip. This is way harder than Chris skip. Like, even just the initial damage boost is way harder, right? Chris skip in itself is, like, 3 out of 10 difficulty, probably. Like 2 out of 10, 3 out of 10. Let's say like 3 out of 10, I think that's fair. This automatically, even just like boosting off of it and then getting the ledge grab, instantly increases it to like a bare minimum of like a 6. I'm thinking more like a 7. Because you need to boost off of his like eye thing. You need to boost off of that instead. And like and is moving back and forth, like, and he's on that cycle of moving back and forth and back and forth. Like, he's doing that from level load. So he's on a cycle, effectively, and it can be hard to react to. It's not like the craziest cycle ever or whatever, like, you can react on the fly, but it is, you know, and then you want to hold forward for as long as you can to build up as much speed as you can, but, like, and then, if you get the ledge grab skip, you need to adjust your camera angle, like, whilst, like, setting yourself up for the token drop. Instead of doing it like this, which makes it, like, infinitely easier, you have to do it on the fly. It adds so much difficulty, dude. Like, yeah, I would say Quick Chris in itself is probably, like, 7.5 difficulty, like 7... yeah, I'd say, like, 7 out of 10 difficulty after I've grinded it so much. And this immediately turns it into, like, at least an 8, but I'm thinking more like an 8.5 is really bad. But yeah. And then, this happens. Now that was some fucking bullshit if I've ever seen it, bro. So, I'm not even, like, 100% positive what happened. I think... yeah, I think... I was, like... I think I'm just barely too far left by, like, a fucking nanopixel. I think I'm either barely... yeah, I think I'm... yeah, I'm too far left. I'm, like, 80% sure I'm too far left by, like, a fucking... like, the tiniest amount ever. That is honestly, like, pretty bullshit. Like, it is my fault, but it's also bullshit at the same time. This is a more ideal angle. So that is actually a major mistake, pretty much, and obviously now you can see, oh, well, now it's pretty fucking realistic for you to be minus out of Now That We're Men, right? And I would, yeah, it is quite realistic for me to be minus out of Now That We're Men, especially because, when it happens, in a second... yeah, that happened. It's kind of funny that both my 1 flat 49 and my 1 flat 26 both missed a target in Now That We're Men Bungie. Well, I'm not sure. They both made a mistake in Now That We're Men Bungie, and it's just kind of funny because they're both, like, elite runs. Oh yeah, this is another timesave Bungie ball. It got found after the fact. So you bowl for, like, a little bit. Not very long, but, like, a bit. And it'll break this target, which gives you a favorable cycle for the rest of it. It saves a second and a half if you do it perfectly. However, I was a tiny bit slow, and I could have gone further left, but either way. And then, if you make, like, basically any mistake, you were, like, like, you're not favored at all to get, this 200 stack. I got 100 of it, but not 200. And if you miss the full 200, like, you're low-key, like, you need to get backup stacks at that point, because, like, otherwise you're actually completely fucked. But I got 100, which put me in a weird situation. The Bungie Ball sets up ball storage, and there's nothing you can do about that, like, in itself. Like, you can't just, like, undo the ball storage, like, on the fly. I had to do a route change to make it so that it never ever causes problems, but you'll see what I mean later. So yeah, unfortunately, this run was absolutely insane before, and now the run is just like, it's decent. So yeah, I would say, what segment time did I get? Okay, I got like a really high 217. And my gold is, 205, I think? And I can get, like, maybe I might be able to barely scrape a 203 if I get... Because it is just inevitable, like, getting the ledge grab skip, the quick Chris, and then doing everything else, like, basically perfectly, like, that is inevitable. I will get that eventually, and I will go by half a second, so... by a second and a half, I meant. I would say it's pretty pretty realistic to get, like, a 207. Get like a high 207 or something, so there's 10 seconds of time save here. 10 is a lot, because all of a sudden, you know, before, if we're talking like realistically, I could expect to be like +2 or some shit going in, even on the pretty good runs, like +2 going into Now That We're Men. And then, like, let's say I lose like a couple more seconds going in, which even that's a bit generous, because I again, probably more often than not, miss Spear Boost. But again, when I say realistically, I still mean with a bit of optimism, because, like, to get a run this far, the run has to technically be above average anyway. The vast majority of runs reset before they even make it to Rubber Dub. So when I say, like, realistic, it's still above average automatically by default, but, like, you probably know that, I'm just saying. So with that in mind, I would say that I can be, like, minus... like kind of realistically, like, -6 out of Now That We're Men on this run against these splits. So, yeah, that's where we're at right now, is -6 on, like, a good run. And a temporary goal I had was to get a 59 best possible time out of Now That We're Men, which I already have done. But the best I've been able to do, I think, was it was either 59.57 or 59.58 best possible time going into Boob Tube. Well, going into Area 2. So... yeah, so this run isn't even, like, far behind that, is the thing. It's just that, you know, just a little sad, still a little sad. And again, at this point, my manlies are, like, they'll be completely fine for throw, but other than that, like, it's not looking great. I will say, like, this SCDA is also not very good, spoilers, although it's not as bad as the Now That We're Men. 429 Now That We're Men, there would have been a time where I would have been like, oh my god, this is peak, but to put it into perspective, right? My, what was it? Yeah, my 1 flat 46 got a 416 Now That We're Men. And to put that into perspective, both of my Now That We're Men golds combined, like, total to a 416. So obviously that's not realistic, but I can still pretty reasonably expect, like... even like a 422. Like, pretty realistically, I can expect like a 422. Or like a 423. So 429 is just straight up bad for my standards at this point. Anyway, here's the other mistake. I just fucking brain farted just then, bro. I just brain farted. Like, I lost, like, over a second from that, but the rest of the segment was really good. But again, if we're being a little bit generous, bruv, then there's a second to time save this, and now we're -7. On, like, a pretty fucking good run, but not, like, insane. Well, not like the most insane thing ever, at least. And then, so, what's that, like, at least 2 seconds, so now we're -9. And here's technically another thing that's been discovered. It's hard, like, it's hard to call it a time save, even though it basically is. There's, like, a fast cycle, at the end of SCDA, and I didn't even know it existed until I got it, like, on accident, right? Which is what the 148 gold is from when from 2023, when I just got it, like, on accident. I can consistently do it now, but it is a slower version of it that loses probably, like, a second or a second and a half, because, like, the other one was so absurd. It really was, but I'm still saving time compared to, like, my 1 flat 49, where it was, like, a more standard, like, thing, so... And we found a way to get free manlies, by the way. Like, watch this now. So, like, this is part of the cycle, so you hit this, but then you have time. You're waiting for the next move anyway, so, like, you literally just cartwheel the spawner on the fogger for free. And then you stand here, and then you, like, wiggle the stick until it's about, like, a good... Like, you need to, like, move the camera in a favorable position. It's, like, a bit hard to explain. The spawner would be in the way right now, so, like, you actually... Like, it's advantageous to kill the... to destroy the spawner anyway, but then it also gives you manlies. So this is what you're doing. You're doing these because, like, when I did it in my gold, the move was, like... If you could see my cursor, the move was literally, like, by here. So he's moved a bit more, so it loses, like, a second or a second and a half or some shit, but, like... You know, actually makes it fucking viable. Because it's actually consistent. So 2 more time saves. Instead of jumping to this can, I cartwheel to this can and then jump to this can. So that's 1 time save, and the other one, you don't have to hold throw for the maximum duration here. You can let go a little earlier, and at least from the comparison, because I maybe could have gotten a better one, I don't know, but just from the comparison that I did, both of these things save about 10 frames each, so about 20 frames total, so yeah. And now Dennis is just the exact same as always, but you'll see how I did it in my speed run. How did I lose that much, actually? 6.5? Really? 6.5? I only lost, like, a max of, like, 3 seconds on the... Was my fast cycle thing, like, faster than I thought? Now I'm curious. Because... I don't know. How minus... I think... I think I said I was, like, -9 or something. Like, effectively. Like if I... had, like, a pretty... bust and run right now would be like -9. Oh, Dennis 1 frame. Well, I mean, I can't... Again, I miss it more than I get it, but, like, I guess... I've been getting it more recently, so I guess I can, like, half expect myself to get it. So I guess I can still say I'm -9. Here's another addition to the run, by the way. Here's a fast cycle, although I fucked it up a bit in this run. But you can see I'm taking a different path at the beginning. And then, you can see then that I'm, like, instead of, like, waiting for another block cycle, I just jumped to this one. However, I was supposed to jump here, then here, then here, but I fucked it up, so I had to go this way. I was just a bit slow, so... I lost, like, a second, but, like, this cycle is supposed to save, like, 4 seconds over what I was doing, but instead I saved, like, 3. So yeah, 3 seconds of time shape rev, and I would say, like, okay, that 1 second is probably realistic. So... -10. And then Sponge Bowl, gotta wait for this, just, yeah. Oh yeah, there is block boost, but that's just, like, not gonna be a thing. Like, you just don't go fast enough for it at this point. Or, I mean, like, you'd have to slow down to do it. So it's just not worth it. Anyway, that Sponge Bowl was, like, basically fucking perfect. I think this was in the run. This fast throwing fruit, I'm pretty sure it was in the run. I don't even think I fucked this up at all in this run. Yeah, so you prevent a bowl storage crash. This stuff, so basically you could crash in SCDA floating block, but if you do it immediately after Dennis, it doesn't crash. But then BBBH to Sunday will crash, like, every single time, no matter what. So, but then you don't want to do BBBH SCDA Sponge Bowl to... I don't even know if that one works or not, but even if it does, Sponge Bowl tokens are, like, risky to, like, 2-frame, like... and then go to a drive, because you can't see how many tokens you have in driving levels. So you don't want to do that, you want to... You know, because we come... Well, Chris has been buffering them. He's been finding success with buffering them, but I don't like buffering them. So because I don't buffer them, like, but because I do buffer Cirque, like, it just... You know, like, this is the best, like, token to do before Sunday. There is... Ball storage can crash here. It can crash here. But... The only way it can crash is if your load count is on a multiple of 4. However... The number of loads remaining in my run will never change. Like, you know how it's like, oh, well, if you miss this 2 frame, that adds or removes a load? There is nothing like that for the rest of the run. There is nothing that can make me add or remove a load for the entire rest of the run, right? And that's notable because, the number of loads left in the run happen to basically... The only way I could be on a multiple of 4 loads going into Sunday would be if I was on pace to fail Mindy skip, because I'd be on a multiple of 4 loads. That is literally the only way. So, and at that point, like, I would have already had the opportunity to either bail out of the 3-meter token frame, or, to bail out of, the weenie reload. So I'm just, like, it's pretty much never a problem. But even if it were, like, in an absolute pinch, I could, like, whoop the Sponge Ball or Dennis again or something. Well, I don't know about Dennis, I don't know if that'd be fine, but you would at least be able to whoop the Sponge Ball. But anyway, here's Sunday. Notably, in my 1 flat 49, I just straight up, like, missed Sunday jump, which was the biggest individual time loss in the run, I think. Although my boob tube was bad as well. Isn't it kind of fun? Like, they both had bad, like... Oh yeah, didn't I miss Quick Chris in my 1 flat 49? Like, Nazin died, but I think I just didn't even get to attempt Quick Chris. I feel like. I'm pretty sure I didn't get to attempt it. So, that's kind of funny. So they, like, both runs are elite. They both shattered expectations. They both were, like, not to the same extent, but kind of out of nowhere. And they both had bad here monsters. They both had kind of shitty boob tubes. Like, they both got the Dennis 1 frame, I don't know, like, there's some similarities with the runners I think is funny. But yeah, there isn't, I mean, Goob just made me lose a few frames there, but like, who cares, bruv? But yeah, this is like very standard, so far. This isn't meant to be like an incredibly deep analysis, because I've already done so many analysis runs. I wish I analyzed Chris's 103, but I didn't. I still gave him advice, though. But this is just to show, like, it's just me being transparent with, like, hey, here's, like, the time save, here's, like, what I think could happen. Like, there's no point in me explaining, like, Sunday jump again, really, is there? Like, if anybody's watching this, they very likely already know, because I've already talked about it so many times. I was meant to, like, I meant to, like, stop doing analysis videos, at least, like, temporarily, but, like, this is actually important. But yeah, like, this is looking good so far. And again, we're looking at about, like, 10 seconds of time save so far. And I got Sunday jump. That Sunday jump could have been better, but, like, genuinely, you were happy to just get any fucking form of Sunday jump, so I'm just not gonna... We're just not gonna be like, ew, you could shave half a second there, bruv. Voice crack. Like, there's no point. I misused my nitro slightly. It doesn't really matter, like, it was fine. I slightly brushed up against the wall just then, but yeah, none of it really matters. 401 is pretty good, like, I'm not really gonna complain about that. At this point, my manlies are a little low. I'm a little skeptical of my manlies, so... I could have skipped that stack for half a second of time save, but given the situation, like, I just felt like it wasn't, you know... I even got that. That was pointless. You don't want to get this stack. Because if you fuck it up, SpongeBob and Patrick will literally just plummet to the death and lose loads. I mean, this would have killed the run. I shouldn't have done that, no matter how desperate I was. I could have gone, like, the shitty stack in Plank, for example. But yeah. And then another thing I should have done is I shouldn't have grabbed these boxes. I should have put myself on 2 health. because then you can drop onto the TNT, which does lose, like, a bit of time, but, like, it's like, not bad time loss, like, don't lose much. And at this point, like, my manlies are good. I kind of overdid it. I didn't even really, like, I didn't need that stupid jump stack, and I didn't need the floating boxes, like, I was fine. Especially because of another, like, I guess, like, half discovery made, like, literally, like, the day before this run. It, like, I feel like you always get more manlies from guest onwards than you think you're going to, even at the top level. I'm always, like, really worried. I saw, because to be fair, 6,000 isn't that much, but I still, like, overdid it. But here's the other, like, half discovery. We thought that the guest finish line trigger, was, closer to the right. Like, we thought it was, like, uneven. A couple of them are, like, Rubber Dubs is, and, Rock Slide is. This isn't. So, like, basically, I was, losing time, well, not time, I was losing manlies for no reason here, because I would jump into the finish line trigger on the right side, because I thought I needed to jump to the right side. No, you can, it's literally just as fast to just go this way and grab the 50, so that's 50 free-ass manlies. But yeah, then we got Denise 2. And I didn't get the token frame. I can't be like, oh, that's realistic timesave, because genuinely, you were happy to get one of the two. I need to go on a rant. This fucking token frame just, like, doesn't work, bro. It is harder than Dennis 1, even though that doesn't make any logical sense. It is harder than Dennis 1, I'm telling you. Like, I'm hoping I can look back at this video in future and be like, wow, I was such a fool, we figured it out, and now it's, like, it's so easy, bruv. But, like, like, here's the thing, right? Okay. When I practice the 1-frames in Dennis 1 and Dennis 2, Dennis 1 is usually not a big issue. Sometimes it is, but it's usually not a big issue. If either of them are causing issues, 80% chance that it's Dennis 2, not Dennis 1. Even though Dennis 2's should be easier, because you get more time to set it up. You literally get more time to set up, because, from Dennis's health going to 0 to when the cutscene is skippable, there is a longer stretch of time. So you literally have more time to get your fingies into position to do the trick. Which is making me wonder if, like, Dennis 1's is, like, somehow occasionally a fucking... I'm wondering if it's, like, occasionally a 2-frame or something, but then Dennis 2's is, like, always a 1-frame. I don't know. Like, on that day, yesterday, well, it'll be Wednesday when I upload this, but I did this run on Sunday. On Sunday's practice session, I literally, right, I got the Dennis 1 ones, like, pretty quickly. Like, it only took, like, 5 tries or something to get them 3 times in a row. I literally, right, if I had to take a good guess, I would say it took me about 40 attempts. Well, no, it took me, like, 50 attempts to get it 3 times in a row here, maybe, like, 45, 50. After, like, 40 fucking tries, I mean, maybe it wasn't that much, maybe it was, like, 25, and I'm just, like, greatly exaggerating it in my head, but it felt like fucking ages after a very, very, very long time. I even, like, went to go practice something else temporarily, because I was getting tilted, and I came back to it, and I was getting it even less often, right? I went back to Dennis 1, instantly, it literally instantly got it 3 times in a row, and I was so fucking annoyed by that. There is something up with the Dennis 2 one. It is harder than Dennis 1, even though it should be easier, or at least the same difficulty. I don't know what's going on with it. It is harder. I'm putting my foot down, and I'm saying with, like, 95% certainty that it is harder than Dennis 1, even though they are somehow both 1-frames. Anyway, I can't expect to save time, though. Again, just getting one of them is, like, more than good enough. Anyway, that was, like, basically perfect guest jumps, so, lol. What was my... Yeah, 104. I almost never get 104s. It was funny, by the way. Here's another thing about, like, some things are just, like, even if you gold, it's gonna be by so little, and, you know, like, fast corkscrew, you know, shit like that. That guest 2 gold is my oldest one. I don't think I have any golds from, like... I have, like, a couple golds from 2022. And then the remainder, I believe the remainder are from 2023 onwards, except for Guess 2. When was my Guess 2 gold? 2020. 2020. With a slower Xbox before we discovered cache loads. So, like, I would have like a 3-frame advantage compared to then, probably. Which isn't much, but, you know, it's fucking something. Yeah. I like, basically can't gold that shit, like, ever again. I've been trying since 2020. And think about it, like, since 2020, this is the category that I've ran the most, and I've still never been it. I've never been it, bro. Like, the only way I'm gonna be able to beat it at this rate is if we play on hard drive, because then I have, like, a fucking 2 to 3 second advantage. It's, like, the only way, bro, I swear. Anyway. Even if you get, like, a 135 or a 136, you're happy, but the fact I got a 133 is crazy. So, yeah, that -10 is once again not looking that good. I mean, Sunday Jump is a huge pain in the ass. Guess was completely fine, Dennis 2 was completely fine, and then Perfect Guess Jumps. So now, again, I say realistically in massive quotations, I am now, like, -7-ish again. And here's another new thing. This, if you do it successfully, prevents the Merv from ever spawning because he has, like, his own luck, and it has caused, like, some runs to die. So, around where that 10 manly is, like, you do a double jump spin and then bash boost off the spike. In itself, it saves, like, a couple frames, but that's not why I do it. Sometimes the Merv can shoot both targets, or he can, if you're really unlucky, he'll shoot you just when you're on the bungee hook, and it'll just fuck everything up. Like, I've semi-recently, like a couple weeks ago, had that just straight up kill a run, so... yeah. Like, I still don't really like the spike strat because the popper can shoot you upwards, but that's only happened to me once, and you could just miss the spike, but I have yet to do that in a run. Here's another thing I started doing, but it's technically a time loss, but is a consistency thing. Instead of, like, walking off here because it's inconsistent and stupid, if you walk in front of the Freezy Fruit, you'll always get pushed out, like, basically instantly. The only thing is that you need to angle yourself in a way to where, like, you never step on the stem, like, ever. So, like, I moved away from it ASAP, but even then, my angle was still, like, it could have been a tiny bit better. Yeah, and then combat... I made a mistake here, I know I did. Yeah, so that's like half a second. But then... I got the fast detonation, and I usually don't get that, so that just negates it. Lol. My face when... I don't think that's new. This might be new since my 2023 run, I don't remember, but I used to bash it. Do my fucking throat. I used to bash a little earlier, but now I bash later because it saves half a second. Anyway, this time save technically got discovered on the day that I... okay, so... the time save is variable because it's like 2 time saves in one, but then it aids in a potential 3rd time save that you could have already done. It's kind of weird. It's weird, but I'm going to do more optimal wall jumps inbounds, then I'm going to do more optimal wall jumps out of bounds, except I fucked them up. Which will then lead to a 3rd time save, which I'll get into in a sec. So, I say this was technically found, it's basically that it's what Chris was already doing both the time saves, and I think he just, like, didn't know that, like, people, like, weren't aware of, like, the optimal way that he was doing it. So it was already known, but it wasn't, like, now it's established, like, okay, like, this is fast, this is the fastest way you can do it, so, yeah, time save, and I did this, like, literally on the day. Well, I found out about it at AM on the day, and then I confirmed it was definitely faster, like, 100% definitely faster, like, a couple hours, actually, very shortly before stream started. I used to walk, like, very close to the spikes, and then I would double jump, and I'd do 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I would, like, from here, I would do up, left, up, right, up, left, up, right. Here, you double jump on the right side instead, and then you build up one wall jump, and then you do up, left, up, right. It is harder because you have less height, so you're more likely to risk death. Additionally, if you wall jump like a little earlier here, it would fuck the camera and your angle, and then that could cause issues. So this is harder, but it's still worth it, because this saves like 2 seconds, so it's still worth it. This allows you, because you just skip 2 wall jumps, that's why it saves time. You are a tiny bit further away when you start doing this wall jump thing, but you can also use that to your advantage. Because I fucked it up. We all thought that the minimum number of wall jumps you could do here was 8. Chris did 6. And you can do that anyway. But again, because Chris's wall jumps make you put you further away from the spot, when you go to do those 6 wall jumps, you'll get a little less height, which in itself is ideal. And again, it was still found on the same day, which is why I said it's like the time save technically varies depending on like the way that you look at it. So I was going to do it, but my height just really didn't feel good. Like, I would have done it fucking there, and there's just no way that would have worked. So then I went to do 8, but then my angle was a bit fucked. And then I had to end up doing 10. And another similarity to the fucking 1 flat 49, I just played, well, I didn't purposely fuck it up, I just did 10 to be safe, because back then I was worse at the wall jumps, so I didn't like risking 8, because it would sometimes give me too little height and kill my run. However, this is different because, you know, even 6 is enough. I was trying to get 6, but then I fucked up, and then I tried to get 8, and I fucked up. But it's still funny that in both instances I did 10 wall jumps. So yeah, I did not obtain all the time save. And the reason why you want less height, the least amount of height, like ideally that you can get, is because of this. That was a lot of wasted time that I didn't have to, you know, waste. Because I could have just done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, but that 3rd wall jump was fucking terrible, so I just couldn't do it. But even 8 would have been good, but then I fucked up. Which is a bit frustrating, because now my monumental gold just sucks. But then here's another time save that got found like a couple weeks ago. So yeah, off of my gold, the wall jump stuff saves, if you do it like literally perfectly, it saves just under 5, more realistically like 4. Or like 3.5, that's like very realistic. This saves a second and a half. Isn't it insane that one of the most linear areas in the entire game, and a very short area of that, has just had this much time save in the span of a couple weeks? That's honestly nuts. But, yeah, so normally we used to wait here for a few seconds and then bash boost across. I never liked that anyway, because you could just accidentally count too fast and then, like, you drown instantly. So this improves consistency. This does have its own skill to it, but it is easy. You just need to practice it, like, a little bit, and then it's easy. You want, like, this kind of angle, and then you see this, like, line on the edge here, on the side? You want to start jumping a little before you reach the side, and then you want to have, like, you want good jump spacing, but you don't want, like, good dynamic jumping. You can dynamic jump a little bit, but, like, you don't want it to be too, because otherwise, again, like in 3K, you'll be too far away and the game will not update your position. I just realized I forgot to go into more detail about the 3K token death, steamed specifically. God damn it. Anyway, well, I'll go back to that in a second. So I did gold. It is unfortunately a 140.000, which is annoying. So I golded by 0.1. The thing is, I can gold by like 4.5 seconds, so I can get a 135. And that's really annoying because the only categories I've considered going back to after this run, because spoilers, this run is too good right now, and I'm not really looking to come back to it next week unless more gets found. The issue is that, I mean, all tokens and no major glitches, like, they don't have Sponge Glide, like, because they do Plank Sponge Ball, so, like, they can't do Sponge Glide. So, I'm just kind of, well, fucked. I want to get a good goal. It doesn't even need to be, like, as fast as possible. Even, like a low 136 would be pretty acceptable, because I want, like, a good-looking Sob, you know what I mean? But I can't even transfer this to any category. I can't even transfer it to early powers, because that grabs the Plank stack. And then... all extras can't do it because that also does Plank Sponge Ball. Early powers, all extras can't do it because of that one extra they need to grab. This split can only apply to no pause storage. And I don't plan to go back to it anytime soon. Maybe I will if there's only like an hour left of the stream or whatever, but anyway, I'll temporarily... So I will say that I can realistically beat this by, like, in a run, I can realistically beat this by, like, 2 seconds. I will say, this guitar thing has been causing me issues recently, because it isn't as easy as it looks. If you, like, I think you want to, like, after the first guitar, you want to, like, move a little bit, like, left or right, probably left. Because then you, like, exit and re-enter the triggers, because, like, I don't know, I've been having issues recently with, like, if I stand still, then he dies in, like, 5 guitars, because guitar number 2 and 3 just don't activate, they just don't hit him for some reason, and I just don't really understand what's going on with that, but I think it's something to do with, like, entering the trigger or some shit. I don't know, it's been kind of funky, so that's been causing me issues recently, but I guess I'll just ignore that for now, because I might be able to make it consistent again. It's just weird, because I didn't used to have issues with it. Well, not, like, frequently, but now I'm frequently having issues with it. So, I would say... How minus did I fucking... I think I said, like, -6 or something going into... So, okay, so I guess now we're, like, -8. Oh, wait, now I need to go back to 3K, because I forgot to... Like, I needed to put more emphasis on it being, like, kind of shitty. So, if what you need to do, you need to jump and then turn, or you need to, like, hold right. Because, if you just move back, like, literally even the tiniest amount, you'll pick up the token because of the fat hitbox. Which is really annoying. So you need to, like, jump right and then down. Is really AIDS. Well, it's not really, like, it used to be AIDS, but then I kind of got used to it, but... And here's another thing. It technically loses time, but it consistently, like, saves time or breaks even, so... It won't even be noticeable, really. But I used to spam select and B here. I used to just spam select and B. But you'd, it is faster if it's, like, perfect every time, like, it is faster to just spam select and B, but you can just buffer the upgrade menu, because what you're doing is making Mindy open up the upgrade menu instead of the task menu by pressing select, which is faster because the upgrade menu appears and disappears quicker. Well, I don't know about disappears, but it appears quicker. However, doing it, like, really fast, was generating lag, and that could cause issues, but if you just press select, like, ahead of time, and then press B, like, it'll just... It, in itself, opens and closes the menu slower, but it's so much more consistent. To put it into perspective, right? I did a comparison between my Knucklehead Gold, which has, like, the fast, like, mashing thing I was talking about, versus, like, this buffer method. And it only lost, like, 2 frames compared to the buffer method, because the buffer method... Like, I mean, no, it only saved 2 seconds over the buffer method. Because even in my gold, I fucked it up a bit, which just goes to show, like, I pretty much never got runs where I did it, like, absolutely perfectly anyway. So, like, the buffer strat, just, like, I'm going to, on average, like, save frames from it. I'm like, yeah, there would be a hypothetical scenario where I'm losing frames because of it, but, like, literally fucking whatever, like, compared to my gold, I'm breaking even, and that's what matters, like, genuinely. But, yeah, Knucklehead was just kind of Knucklehead. little hop. I don't remember if that was in my run. I genuinely can't remember, but you just, like, you hold, like, pretty far left. Even in midair, you want to, like... Wait, no, I held right. Wait, hold on. Okay, well, you want to be left-angled going into that. Saves a quarter of a second. Like, because Mindy skip... Oh yeah, that's another thing I forgot, since that run. We know how Mindy skip works now. We used to think it was random, like, anywhere between, like, a 1 in 4 to a 1 in 5 chance. It happens if your load count is on a multiple of 4. So... my run from boot, its load count is 46. It used to be 47, but because of 3K Bungie stuff, now it's 46. So a no cheese reset... Because exiting game counts as a load, so no cheese reset is, that would put me on pace. But then, you know, I'm more likely to reset them in, after, like, depression. Like, from depression, especially because I have been buffering the Creek token now. Which means I'm less likely to reset after Creek and more likely to reset during Creek, which is a 3 load count, which then adds my loads to 50, and then I'm not on pace to fail Mindy skip anymore. And I'm less likely to reset a no cheese because a truck skip, so again, you can see it, like what I was talking about earlier with the load count and why dropping the strats is advantageous even in that perspective. But if I needed to, I could have not reloaded Weenie, or I could have, not loaded in, 3 meter, or I could have loaded an SCDA sponge ball twice. That would have also done it. Maybe I could look into... I don't think it's worth it, but maybe I could look into, like... Maybe Sunday doesn't crash if you reload Dennis, like, again, because that is, like, the fastest load in the game because of menuing and it being a really fast, like, short, a very small level in the first place, and you don't need to scroll for it whatsoever, so maybe, like, Cirque to Dennis to Floating Block, to Sunday. Maybe that doesn't crash. Maybe I could look into that just as, like, an option, I'm not sure. But either way, I haven't been in that position yet, but otherwise you could just, like, load it into Spongeball twice when setting up Mindy Skip. And the other thing that we found out is that if you miss Mindy Skip, you don't need to redo the entire setup. You can literally just reload Knucklehead and do it again. So that's less time lost for people who miss Mindy Skip. Though if that happens to me, I gotta reset Spaghetti, unfortunately. No middle door, but again, that's 1 in 3, so it's not realistic. I can't just be like, oh yeah, realistically save half a second there. I mean, I could have nitroed a bit earlier there, but, like, bruh. And yeah, that's Knucklehead. Pretty close to the gold. And there is one more time save here compared to 2023. I keep saying 2023, but it's literally just the one flat 49, which, you know, I got that shit in, like, June. I might actually go into normal speed for this. You want to be on the ground when Neptune ends his attack so that he enters his first person, but you can see, like, I choked. So that was, like, full-on time loss there. It's so easy to choke at Neptune, dude. It's unfortunate. And I could have skipped that a tiny bit sooner. Neptune is, like, micro-choke hell when, like, at top level, it really is. Like, I'm, like, less worried about getting hit and more worried about just, like, getting a... Oh, obviously here I was worried about getting hit, but, yeah. Dude, this, like, I know obviously it's gonna feel like slow-mo when it's been in 2 times speed the entire time, but, like, goddamn. I mean, we don't really need to see this in normal speed, but then... Again, like, but it's so hard, because, like, trying to save frames and then you just get hit and the run's dead, like, that's hard to justify doing, well, especially in Phase 1. But yeah. Also, one thing I used to do was, like, I remember, because I think my 105 segmented run that I uploaded to YouTube years ago, like, I think it was like 105.53 or something, back when I had like a 108 or a 107. I think it was the 107.34s around when I uploaded that, but it was just kind of funny because I remember, like... My throat's bro. I think it was like... I think the run, like, barely had a sub-1 Mindy skip, as in, like, by the time I successfully did Mindy skip and reloaded, it was literally, like, I think it was like 59 5x, which is like, it just goes, I mean, to be fair, like, Rub-a-Dub Skip was majorly responsible, but even if you just took that segmented run and added Rub-a-Dub Skip to it, it would be like a mid 102, so, like, even then, I'm just playing so much faster now. But there's also a lot of strats, to be fair. But yeah, like, you know, phase 2 and 3 are much easier, like they really are. Let's see how this is. Oh yeah, I wasn't talking about the strat. If you stand in front of Neptune and then spin, like, as he goes to shoot you, it, like, pierces through you and hits crabs instead. And the reason why that saves time, because normally we stand behind his arm by here, right? But that's slow, because then you need to, like, walk a little forward and then guitar, but then even then, the guitar needs to travel a bit further. You're literally just standing closer to him. And you can do that every single hit, but it is quite hard in phase 1. In phase 2 and 3, it's much, much easier. You can also jump, but I really do believe that jumping is worse. They are kind of the same, but in Chris's run, because he was angled poorly to the right side, Neptune, like, shot in between his eyes and his arm, and just missed the shot and lost, like, 2 seconds. And yeah, Chris shouldn't, like, yeah, sure, okay, whatever, he shouldn't have been so far right. That physically can't happen if you spin. So as far as I'm concerned, spinning is superior. So, yeah. Anyway, that was, like, I think either a very high 5907 or a very high 59, a very low 5908, phase 2. I mean, phase 3, like, enter, so that's kind of funny. And obviously you have Sam's strat. Wait, hold on, how fast was that? Yeah, that could have been a little bit faster as well, I think. Again, I just did, like, I literally did, like, 4 micro chokes, like, 4 or 5 micro chokes in Neptune. It's so easy to lose, like, a second or 2 in Neptune off the gold. Yeah, that was also slow again. But, you know, only losing, like, okay, I'd say realistically, like, half a second in Neptune, because you do need to think about, like, the choke factor, the choke central. What time did I get, like, hitting Neptune the first time in phase 3? 46. And then he started attacking at 50. 59.50. So when did it hit 1 hour? Damn. I already hit 2 of the tables by then, bruv. Now I need to get sub 1 Neptune first attack done. I mean, that's so arbitrary, who cares, but that's just funny. So the amount of total realistic time save I pointed out was like, what was it, like 8 seconds? But, like, that's not actually realistic. That's, like, the most I can expect is to PB by, like, 8 seconds. That is, like, my 10 out of 10 run. Even though I did subtract some of it because of some shit, like, yes, I could be minus out of Now That We're Men, like, semi-realistically. Yes, I could be minus out of SCDA. Yes, I can be... But then, like, Sunday makes it harder, like, and then Guess 2 makes it, like, a lot harder. And then Neptune again, choke central. So basically, the run would be like... Runs from now, if I keep playing no pause storage as of right now, it'll literally just turn into like... Oh, like, I'm plus going into Now That We're Men. I'm like a bit minus going out of Now That We're Men. I need to save even more time out of SCDA. Oh look, I'm like minus like 4 or 5 seconds. And then they need to not miss the Dennis frame, and then not make basically any mistake for the rest of the run, except like incredibly minor stuff. Like, I can miss a couple guess jumps, but then I'm only like minus 3 seconds or some shit. And then or if they just go like even worse or something else goes worse, then I need the Dennis 2-1 frame, even though I fucking miss it all the goddamn time. Then I need like these good wall jumps, and yeah. I'm not gonna say it's the most, okay. To PB at all is not like the most insane thing of all time. Right? But, like... what would be the point of PBing by, like, 2 seconds, right? I had a high 1 flat, and now I have a mid 1 flat. Clearly, the next thing to go for is the next 10-second barrier in itself, but that, a 1 flat 19 automatically brings me down to a low 1 flat. So the only reason I should keep playing this is to get a mid 1, is to get a low 1 flat. And I could, but that then borders on just complete ridiculousness. So with that in mind, like, you know what I mean? This run is like, I did say it is probably the best run I've ever done. Like, this, like, I don't know how to explain it, but, like, the mistakes make it, like, look worse than it actually is, because I'm not going to be minus going into Nether, man. I'm very unlikely to be minus going into, like, Gesk. I'm incredibly unlikely to be on any kind of pace out of Gesk 2 that isn't just, like, a dead run. And then I need to clutch it out and everything, like, it's just, you know... PB, getting, like, a 1 flat, like, 24 would not be, like, completely absurd. But, like, I don't know, man. Like, even if I'm being a bit pessimistic, this run is, like, 9 out of 10. But, yeah. Yeah, the run's, like, 9 out of 10. The 1 flat 49 when I got it, like, for my... But again, it's because of standards and stuff. Like, I technically made more mistakes back then, I think. Or at least the mistakes overall cost more. But even then, that was, like... I think at the time I called that, like, a 9.5 out of 10. But then again, I was like, oh, if you're being pessimistic, then it's maybe a 9. This is kind of the same thing, where it's like, if you're being kind of pessimistic, it's a 9. It's weird, because this run, like, is better than the other one, but I still want to, like, rate it as a lower run for, like, how good it is for its time relative to the other one for its time, even though this one is literally faster when you factor... When you even factor out the time saves, it's still faster, but it still feels like a slightly worse run, even though it's objectively not. And I think it's just because the run doesn't feel, like, as deserved because it didn't grind for it nearly as much. And my sob isn't as optimized. So, I can get a 2x sum of best, but that's just, you know... Yeah, so this run played 50... What was it? 51 seconds off the sob, and the second best I've ever done was, like, 57 to 58 off the sob in the 1 flat 49, and that run had some golds where I did stuff I don't normally do, mainly an unbuffered rock slide super jump. So, you know, whereas all of my golds here are with stuff I actually do. I mean, of course, you know, some stuff like fucking ultimate sandwich out of bounds, like, that's just gonna happen sometimes. My rub-it-up skips were so fast that they barely worked with wood frame, and I never intentionally go for wood frame anymore to increase consistency, but you still theoretically could be in a position where you're fucked, like, you fucked up the setup and you're like, okay, well, I can only get this if I get the wood frame, and then you barely get it, and then you gold by, like, a frame, like, so I can't really get rid of those golds, because, like, it is possible for it to accidentally happen, whereas, like, the rock slide super jump, I only did that because it was a bad run. Which makes it even more impressive than that run back then. So... yeah, I don't know, man. Like, this run somehow doesn't feel as good, even though it is, like, objectively better in, like, every way. The only way it's not better is that its biggest time save has more time save. That is literally the only, way. But this run is absolutely phenomenal. 51 seconds off the sob. I can play within 40, but obviously then you're just talking, like, complete absurdity at that point. Well, even then, I can gold plank by, like, 4 seconds. So then the sob goes to 59.31, and that's a pretty fucking good sob. It's hard to complain with that sob. So with that in mind, then I'd be playing, like, 55 seconds off the sob this run, but that's still the best I've ever done. And then, if I get the ledge grab skip in Here Monster, then it might be like 57 seconds, but even then, it's still like the best run I've done. Yeah. So, I kind of want to retire from this category until there's more time saves. even if like a 5-second time save gets found, I just don't think it's, I don't think it's worth doing until I feel that like one flat like OX is like doable. Because then by the time I get it, I would probably have increased my skill level enough to where it's like, oh, I can probably get 59, I'm gonna grind for 59. You know what I mean? So I think in the meantime, I'm either gonna run NMG, which like I did look at it and it seems pretty doable, or I'm gonna run all tokens, which is even more doable, but I also just don't want to play all tokens. As for time saves I could do, there's obviously truck skip and the unbuffered creek token. I could have saved time like getting less stacks in Gesk, but that's, you know, that's a matter of like half a second to probably not even a second. You can do a faster death here that honestly fucking sucks, and you still have the same RNG chance. It is way harder, but you would basically make it so that you would dive now. You would dive now, and then like hold right, and then like as you break the target, you press B, so that SpongeBob like hits the steam as he ascends. Mike, I did a log of 50 for this method and the hard method. I got this one, I think 46 out of 50 times. And I got the other one, I think it was like 24 times out of 50. So I don't... But that's the thing, like, I could probably grind it to like 70% consistency, which is probably worth it for a 2-second time save. But then it's like... Well, the whole point was that I was supposed to stream weekly. If, you know, if I'm streaming more than that, even like 3 times a week or more, I want it to be because I'm going for 59. This is supposed to be like a, you know, part of, you know, I want an excuse to stream. I want an excuse to have a chat to talk to, and to update on my progress on the tutorial. It's like a nice pace breaker where I just like chill for the day. Because on stream days, I also don't go on the treadmill because I want like a day off like on that. So it just like, it all like feels good, you know, it's all, you know. But, yeah, like, I probably could grind this to consistency, but it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Not feeling it. Like, it's not worth it to grind it, like, hours and hours every day. Especially because it's field-based, and then there will just be the days where it, like, doesn't work again, and all of that for, like, something I'm playing weekly, like, I don't think so, dude. And then here's another time save you could do, has been known for a while. You can, like, jump down this way, grab the checkpoint over here, and then jump across. It saves, like, a second, maybe. The problem is that whether or not the slammer hits you is RNG. It's just straight up fucking RNG. So, I will say I should probably consider it for, like, the kinda... the runs where they aren't very good. Like, 601 Sandwich Driving Exit is not good. So maybe, like... Maybe... Yeah, maybe... Like, on, like, 601 Sandwich Drivings or some shit. Or maybe I should have gone for the fast 3k death because I got a 601, because then I'm just converting it back to a 559, but then I don't want a 3k gold where I'm only sometimes doing a time save. That's another thing. I don't want to, like, have a gold where I'm only sometimes doing time save thing, like, you know what I mean? That's the problem. Yeah, so... I mean, that's, like, theoretically, like, 3 seconds of time save, plus, like, the creek thing and the no cheese thing. It's, you know, we're talking like 4.5 seconds of time save, but like the reset rate would just be like through the fucking roof for something that saves as much time as Speed Boost. Is there anything else? Not, I mean, I can look into the fast spinner kill here again, but I don't think it's consistent. I could look into buffering the tokens for consistency, but that would actually lose time. Weenie Out of Bounds is still not consistent. I do occasionally practice it for 2 seconds, literally, because actually on the day, on Sunday, I did attempt it once as a joke, and I got the first part of it instantly, but I missed Boat Bounce. It might unironically be worth putting in a couple more hours into Boat Bounce just so that, because it is way better than the first part, but Boat Bounce is still AIDS, kind of. But it might be worth it just for, like, So that if I'm in a position where the run is bad, I can do this as a backup. That might be worth considering. At a stretch. But that'd be, like, exclusively for dead runs. As far as I'm in its current state, it will never be consistent, and I'm honestly pretty confident saying that. Yeah, I can't really save time here. I could try and, like, get even better at the quick Chris, like, to the point where I start getting the ledge grab. There is a faster monster skip that I was doing for 5 seconds until I just stopped doing it back in, like, 2023, I think. It's hard to explain, but you move, like, a bit. I think you... Yeah, if I'm remembering the setup correctly, you move, like... Actually, I don't really remember the setup that well, but it's almost like a double hit thing you can do off the... I think it saves, like, a second, but I never liked it, because it is inherently feel-based, and I hate feel-based shit. I don't like it. There is also just a faster monster skip you can do in general, because, what we always do is, from here, we always wait for the monster, like, from panning the camera up, you know, I wait for the monster to extend its mouth twice, so this is the first time, and this is the second time. You can just do it after the first time, but you're dropping a lot of consistency for, if I'm remembering correctly, it was like 0.6 seconds of time save, maybe 0.7. And then, SCDA... I could look into trying to hit this sooner again, but I don't think there's really anything there. I could start practicing the Dennis 2 1-frames even more, but I feel like they're always going to be kind of aids, unfortunately. I have tried to... There is a thing that technically can save time in throwing through, like a different variation of the cycle at the end. On average, it loses time, but the collision for the button appears before it, like, fully drops down. So, you can throw the melon a little early and have it save a small handful of frames, but then that is also feel-based because there's no good visual cue. So I also don't want to do that. There is, a quick kill in Gesk, but it's horrible. You need to have 1 health here, right? And then you... reset your, like, state, kind of, by going off of the, thing in the right way, and then you damage yourself on the steam produced by the faucet, and then you die, but then you, like, you die in a way where you fall back onto the hose. However, there is an incredibly high chance that you just fall off of it entirely, or you just don't even get to attempt this, because your state doesn't get reset in a way that allows you to jump back. But even if you do, there is a very high chance that you just get hit by the steam in an unfavorable way to where you just get knocked into a Hans trigger and you lose time. You'd lose like 3 seconds or something. Yeah, Plank, there's not really anything in Plank. There is, an extremely inconsistent thing called Patrick Ledge Grab, where he can just ledge grab here sometimes, and it saves 2 seconds. There is a way to make it consistent, but it loses time, like, compared to not even doing it, and even then it's a little fucky. To put into perspective of how rare it is, I've seen it since returning, because, I mean, I've done, like, 3 or 4 retirements. To be fair, all of them were meant to be temporary. But since coming back in 2022, which granted I also was gone for like 8 months since then, except for the occasional hundo or no pause storage run for funsies. But since 2022, I've seen Patrick Ledge grab once and I didn't even fucking gold with it because the rest of the segment was bad. So... yeah, I mean, I don't really want to gold with it unless it's consistent. I mean, even if it was, like, 25% consistent, but it's, like, unironically, like, a 1 in 100, it's, like, I don't understand it, bro. Like, we gotta find a way to make it consistent. I don't know if I have a clip of me getting it, though. Probably not because of how rare. I doubt I've ever PB'd while getting Patrick Ledge Grab is the issue. And I doubt anybody, like, thought to make a clip of it, and even then that'd be a lot of clips to go through. But, like... I don't know. Maybe there's like an exact angle you need, and then we can like figure that out and make it more consistent. That'd be cool. I mean, if we could even get it to save a second instead of 2 seconds, that'd be good. And then obviously there's the plank time save I already talked about. There is like, it's been known for a while. I used to do it temporarily, but you can like squeeze in between the wall and the spikes, but it honestly, it's horrible, and it only saves like a quarter of a second, if that. It might not even be that much. Actually, no, I doubt it's a quarter of a second. It's probably like, I don't know. It's probably like 0.15 or something. And then there is a super cancerous strat in Neptune where like you begin guitaring near him, but it's in a way where it's like, cause he like deflects the shot and then starts attacking. But you can do it in a way like at the end of his, like when, but that's the problem though, it's not at the very end of his attack, it's a little before that. A little before the end of his attack, you can like guitar near him, and then he will like deflect the shot because it's the end of his attack. Like, you want to do it so that he's ended his attack, then he immediately starts deflecting your attack, and then you react to it and detonate guitar, and then he starts attacking again. Saves a very small amount of time. I think you can do that on like a lot of phases. Like, well, not phase 1, but you could probably do it on both phase 2 and 3. Well, I don't know about phase 3 because of the spitters, that might make it, but I'm not sure. I don't know, but very small amount of time save, and it is very, very feel-based with absolutely zero visual cue. No one's ever doing that, like, literally ever. And that's, like, everything I could pretty much theoretically do except for dropping buffers, which is not happening, so yeah. You might be thinking what's the point of this run, but I'm just saying, like, 1x is possible, but it's not worth going for, and I could PB by, like, a second or two, but then it's like, what's the point? This run has, like, all the strats. The only thing is that plank area 2 was a bit disappointing, but otherwise the run is, and obviously monster skip was like bruh, but like the run is still a showcase of the modern strats and everything. It is a really good run, and I'm happy with it. I don't feel the need to push it further right now. I mean, to even consider coming back to this category, I feel like I'd need at least like a 10-second time save. Because again, like, I was meant to, like, do this weekly. I just wanted to do this weekly, but the fact of the matter is, like, if I'm not able to do this, like, image is so distracting, because it's just the same two, it's the same two guys, just like, colored differently, and there's like this weird, almost like fade thing going on, like interlaced, like looking ass, as just a stock image of crabs. It's so peak. It is oh so peak. And I don't even know what these are on the ground. They might be some kind of like copyright or like date or something of like this model of the character, and they just didn't crop it. Like, I think they literally made this in like 1 second. And then I don't even know what this is. Is that like a coffee stain? Is this a coffee stain? Like what's going on here? You can even see like a line here on the Krusty Krab. This looks like the back of the Krusty Krab. I don't know why they'd be at the back of the Krusty Krab. Anyway. Oh, and if this is the back of the Krusty Krab, then why is that not the chum bucket? Anywho, what was I saying? Yeah, this, like, because I was supposed to stream weekly, and I just got this, like, too fast. Now I should probably just play. I don't want to touch the extensions categories, I really don't, and I low-key don't want to touch all tokens, but that run is very outdated. It doesn't even have combat strats. It's just that when I got the run, it was phenomenal, but maybe even my best ever run, if not my second best ever run. Like, it was insane. You know, I had all Sunday jumps, but, like, there were a few mistakes, but all the mistakes were really stupid, but now it's a thing of, like, I have a lot more time save in all tokens than I do in Hundo, and Hundo's objectively harder and is longer. It's just that, like, I don't know, all tokens, like, it's hard. The early game is harder because... Actually, no, it's not as easier. Well, the early game is worse anyway. Like, it definitely sucks more, but... Yeah, I mean, late game fast corkscrew, that sucks, I guess, but... Yeah. I think NMG will be my next bet because of how incredibly similar it is to no pause storage. Like, because, like, when you move to a different category after not playing... Like, after only playing one for so long, like, your brain... Like, you just play bad. Like, especially for the first, like, stream, if not, like, half the stream, you just play like shit for the first, like, half the stream. Like, you really do. At least, maybe even the full stream. Like, you just play bad, even if the category is very similar. Even if you're doing segments where, like, the splits are, like, just exactly like how it is in a different category you've played, you can just play worse just because it's a different category. It's, like, it's weird, but, I'm looking at this again, and, like, they're not even, like, looking at anything. Like, they're not even... like, his mouth is open, and then they try to block the other ones having their mouths open. With, like, this guy. And, this guy. Yeah, yeah. I'm probably just gonna go back to no major glitches. I mean, you know, there's 5 ring challenges, you can't lose too much time there. There is an extra sandwich out of bounds, which would be fucking horrible. Playing Sponge Bowl sucks. But then at least I don't need to worry about Sponge Glide. And then Depression Combat kind of sucks, but it's not as bad as it used to be because of the guitar strats. It's just a bit of RNG, it's a bit cringe, and Guess Macho, which will actually be a big issue, but yeah. I made pace splits for it, and I realized getting a PB in this will be easy, but I'm worried. I think 118 is, like, doable. I don't know if it'd be as good as the 1 flat 26, but I'm worried that, like, I might then push my... Because if I decide it's roughly the same difficulty, or easier than the 1 flat 26, like, but it's still, like, hard, like, maybe the equivalent of, like, 1 flat 30 or something, I might force myself to do it, and I don't fucking want to. I literally just want a PB, like, I just wanted PB in the meantime, and then hopefully by the time I'm done with the tutorial, or before I upload the PVZ videos, like, more time savers found in no pause storage, I get 59, I retire, and... like, for good. Maybe accept the occasional run for fun, I don't know. And then, yeah. Anyway, that is everything. I feel like this is a whole yapathon where I didn't even say too much of importance, but, like... I don't know, like, this is more of a celebratory thing. And because I don't have an upload for Wednesday otherwise, so thank you for watching, and goodbye.